quarterbacks, Bob. And I'll give you my soliloquy, and it's a short one. It's a very short one. And it's the future of this team, for better or worse, is Drew Allar, that there's really no point in keeping Will Howard around. And I'm not just talking Friday night. In fact, if you didn't know this before Friday, I don't know what anybody's looking at or considering. He's never going to be your franchise quarterback, and I don't think a franchise quarterback. I don't see the point of Will Howard right now. Allar, I believe, is the guy they're grooming to be the next quarterback. I think he should start the game and play a lot of it against the Bills. I think he should be elevated to number 3. And I think Will Howard, I think you try to put him on the practice squad maybe, and if you lose him to another team, oh well. And this happens in the context of Jerry Dulac reporting that they are keeping all 4 quarterbacks. I don't really get the point. Do you?
I don't know that Jerry implied that they're keeping all 4. He said both of the young guys will be on the roster. That's what he said, and I'm wondering what that means, actually. And I think they're keeping a door open perhaps for something that maybe could come in the way of trade offers.
For Mason?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he didn't say all 4, right? He said...
Well, no, actually, technically you are right there. He said Allar and Howard are both going to be on the team.
Right.
But haven't we reached the point where
for a lot of
it's
reasons.
Obvious that Mason's the backup? So I guess I'm inferring all 4 there.
Right. And I think that's how it's going to go, actually.
And he has said that all along, Bob, that he thinks they're going to keep 4.
And I believe the same thing. And the reason is because they have too much invested in this year. They really want to compete. They want to try to win. They gave Aaron Rodgers $20 million for that. They've certainly given out a lot of money to players here with the idea that this is not a year where they're going to, sort of just go forward and supply quarterbacks and forget about other things. They're going to try to figure out a way. I would not be surprised if Howard does end up on a practice squad, if that's what they mean keeping. Another keeping could be a lot of things. Only because at the beginning of the season, I don't think anyone's going to be in the market for a 6th-round quarterback. They all have their quarterbacks.
Would you keep him on the 53-man roster, Howard, at this point?
Well, I told you before, I'm all for keeping any option possible. And I'm not sure that you can come out right now and say that Will Howard can't be an option moving forward. I don't know that. Nobody knows that. I understand what you're saying, that you don't think it is based on the evidence you've seen. Fine. I haven't seen enough evidence. I want to see more.
Where are you going to see that, though, would be my question.
Problem.
Like when and where?
And that's a problem because you don't get many opportunities. The way the NFL is set up, they don't have a feeder system. You can't send them down to Q school like the NBA has and say, okay, work it out. So you're now forced to keep them, and I don't know what you get out of practice squad all year. I don't. It's probably not much. You never get any reps. Yeah, you can learn stuff by being in team meetings and stuff of that nature, but I still think they're going to keep all 4. I think 2027 is on their minds, back of it, not front of their minds, but they have to keep options open. If they believe those guys could be an option, whether it's a backup or a starter, they're going to keep them all.
I think it's folly to try to develop 2 young guys at the same time. I think you put your eggs in one basket, and I would think to everybody who's watching, Will Howard is not the prospect that Drew Allar is. Does not have the natural talent. Just to clarify what Jerry reported in the Post-Gazette, here's what he said. There will be one more preseason game to determine how many QBs Mike McCarthy keeps on the 53-man roster. But he doesn't need another game to know this. Will Howard and Drew Allar will be on the team.
But on the team could be a lot of different things.
No. That means he said on the 53-man roster, right above that. Will be on the 53-man roster. That decision was reached before, because they couldn't guarantee he would be on the team if they tried to send him to the practice squad. Plus, he just said 53-man roster. Okay. That decision was reached before the 17-0 loss to the Jets. And it didn't matter that both Howard and Allar failed to perform like they did a week earlier when they had the town buzzing. They will be kept when the Steelers reduce their roster to 53 players. Now, he does leave open down below that. The question remains, do the Steelers retain Mason Rudolph? A decision that would appear to be a given because he's the only experienced backup to Aaron Rodgers. Jerry's been consistent since the beginning, believing they would keep 4. Now, to me, he's essentially reporting they would keep 4. I would be. Last week I said I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Rudolph. This week I would be shocked if they traded Rudolph.
Yeah, I think 4 is the way they're going to go. Again, when you put money into a team, especially 20 into Rodgers, you want to have an insurance policy, and Rudolph is much better than any of those two. They just have a more lengthy road to travel. So am I surprised? No. This is what I thought would happen too, just because of their uncertainty for next year. They have to keep all options open. So that's what we're going to do. And a lot of people may think Howard could be the guy. A lot of people think Allar could be the guy. There's no guarantee.
I need to know what people are thinking if they think Howard could be the guy. There's a reason he was passed over 184 times.
Well, Drew
he's
Allar
a
was passed
sixth-round
over
pick.
by how many times?
I mean, he was the 76th pick in the draft.
There's still 76 spots. If he was a franchise quarterback, look how many teams still need franchise quarterbacks.
Would you argue with this statement, Bob? Drew Allar is significantly more talented than Will Howard?
I wouldn't say significantly, but I would say more talented.
All right. That's fair. I think significantly more, though. And I think any team would see that, and I think they're wasting their time trying to develop two at once, and I think they should put everything into the Drew Allar basket here that they can. I would elevate him to number 3. I know number 3 doesn't get a ton of reps, but he gets more than number 4. So I would get him all I can. On this team, being the number 3 is different because you have an ancient starter who's very vulnerable. And then who knows what you get from Mason. I mean, if you're the number 3 on this team, there's a decent chance you could play at some point, honestly. I would do that. I do not see the point in Will Howard. I don't. Bob does. What do you say? 412-928-9370. 928-9370. We have another bit of evidence to build on from the game the other night. And I'll also tell you this, Bob, and we can analyze this for a while. You were calling the game, did a great job with Charlie Batch, as always. Did you feel like you had a good game? I thought you were really good.
At the end of the game, we were missing a number 30. They had 2 number 30s, and we never got the name of the second one.
What can you do about that?
Nothing, except I knew the number 30 who was running the ball on a long play they had before they kicked the field goal was not the number 30 that I had on my roster, which was Dre Brown.
Right.
I have no idea who so we're trying, and a guy slips me a piece of paper. I went with it because I didn't know who he was, and that happens in preseason.
I mean, there's a million guys, and that actually kind of leads into the next discussion point here, and would love to hear from you. Off the Top, brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding. Fan Twitter, brought to you by South Hills Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Route 19 in Peters Township. And that's analyzing the performances the other night. Howard had the 2 interceptions. From what Mike McCarthy said, Roman Wilson was implicated maybe on both. Brian Angelico weighed in and certainly did more than implicate Roman Wilson on one of those. It would seem that the first one was a lot on Wilson, and the second one for not kind of flattening out his route, and the second one was squarely on Will Howard. I just didn't think he played well overall. I didn't think he looked good. And I'll say this, Bob, I thought Allar was actually better than the reviews that he's been given, the situation that he came into. And I don't think he's going to be a high-impact quarterback in the NFL. I hope I'm wrong. So don't mistake what I'm about to say for that. I just think that situation the other night, let me get the names right here. He was throwing to men named... there
are a lot of guys who you'll never hear from again.
Lake McCree.
Lake made actually 2 good catches.
He did.
Yeah. Putting one on the sideline.
Yeah.
You think he's going to make the team?
No, but the drops, he had 4 drops that I counted on passes that were actually better than what the stat sheet says.
Yeah, balls that were right there.
They were right there.
Who were the other guys he was throwing to? Now I can't even remember.
Well, there's bunch of guys on that roster who are only in there for the end of the game. So.
But here's the bottom line, though, with Allar. I thought he made some really good plays, including, in fact, more good plays than bad plays, believe it or not. The one he made to McCree down the sideline was unbelievable. He had at least 3 drops. 3 other balls were catchable to me. I like the way he changed arm angles. I like the way he moved around. He had 0 chance on all 3 sacks. You go back. I went back and watched every single one of his throws. He had 0 chance. Broderick Jones got twisted around. The center, whoever that was, got absolutely smoked on one play. And yes, here they are. Men named Joaquin Davis, Cornell Powell, Isaiah Winstead, and Lake McCree. They were behind the sticks the whole time. And then on that final drive, Bob, the final drive, he made two unbelievable throws down the middle. Both of them were dropped.
Right.
Both of them.
Yeah, I grade him totally differently in that game.
Yeah, me too.
I thought he actually showed a lot of talent and decision-making and accuracy, which wasn't, again, reflective in the numbers, and that's why numbers can be misleading. What I think is the problem is that too many times, and I would say this even for Howard, but I'd like to see Allar start on Thursday with some guys who are actually legitimate guys who are going to make this team, just to give him an opportunity to see if it makes a big difference. Because when you're playing with guys in the third and fourth quarter, your stats and the way you look will be impacted by maybe their inability to do what regulars would do. So
yeah, I'm with you there for sure. And here's the other thing is, who are we kidding at this point? Mike McCarthy drafted Drew Allar to be his guy. He just said on the McAfee show late last week, before I think the day of the game, when we drafted Drew Allar, we felt like we were getting a first-round pick, and all of that is holding true. He's their guy. He's going to be their quarterback next season. If I were a betting man, that's what I would bet. How about you?
For right now, you think he's going to be the starting quarterback?
Who do you think is?
I think it's someone who's not on the roster.
So what are they doing with Allar? He's going to be...
Again, options open. I've seen too many quarterbacks come and do well, then fall off. Some don't start well, and they have to go through 3 teams before they finally pick it up. I just think it's such a hard position to play, and without a lot of reps, it's going to make it more difficult. He's going to be in the equation. I don't think there's any question. But I would say that with no Rodgers and likely no Mason Rudolph, you got those two to add to the group. Who they add could be the answer. I don't know that yet.
I mean, if you bring in Baker Mayfield or somebody of that ilk, then Allar never gets an opportunity his whole career.
That's the problem.
So that's why I don't think they will. I think Mike McCarthy is developing this kid a, quote, first-round pick to be his starter next year. But we can agree to disagree on that one.
You're right, and if it is, that'd be great. They have to put an end to this search. It's gone on too long. I think most of these teams, and there are still a lot of them doing the same thing, searching for quarterbacks.
And you have to find out about him, not about Will Howard. And all you're doing is mucking it up by trying to develop 2 at once. You're going to come back next year with Howard and Allar competing? Put it into the Drew Allar basket and see what you have.